At the edge of the solar system, beyond the orbit of Neptune and far past the known reaches of humanity's exploration, a strange pulse echoed through the darkness. It was faint at first, barely detectable by the most sensitive deep space sensors, but it carried a rhythm that was impossible to ignore. Scientists at the International Space Observation Station were the first to notice it. Dr. Elena Rossi, the lead astrophysicist, stared at the screen, her eyes widening in disbelief. The signal wasn't just random cosmic noise. The pattern was too precise, too intentional. It was intelligent. This isn't natural, Elena whispered, almost to herself, as her fingers flew over the console. The room buzzed with tension. Satellites monitored the signal, and calculations showed it was coming from a region beyond Pluto, far outside the known boundaries of human exploration. Yet, what made it extraordinary and terrifying was that this signal didn't appear to be intended for humans. Its complexity, its code, and the strange modulations in energy frequency suggested it was part of a communication network far beyond Earth's comprehension. At first, the reaction in government circles was disbelief. It must be a glitch, some cosmic interference, one official argued, his voice tense as advisors crowded around holographic displays. But the signal persisted. It pulsed in intervals too regular to be random. Instruments that had never malfunctioned before began showing anomalies. Subtle gravitational distortions flickered in the orbital satellites. The scientists realized with growing unease that this was not merely a message. It was a warning the universe had not meant for humans to understand. Yet curiosity, that defining human trait, refused to be contained. Hope flickered alongside fear. If the signal carried knowledge, it might hold secrets about distant worlds, advanced civilizations, or technologies far beyond Earth. Humanity could ignore it or they could answer. And the decision to respond was already forming. A global task force was convened. Elite astronauts, engineers, and scientists were selected for a mission never attempted before. They were given the code name Project Vanguard. Commander Marcus Hale, a veteran astronaut with experience in deep space reconnaissance, was assigned to lead the mission. Alongside him were Dr. Elena Rossi, expert in extraterrestrial signals, Lieutenant Arjun Patel, a young but brilliant navigator, and Dr. Mei Ling, a physicist specializing in interstellar propulsion. Together, they formed a team capable of handling the unimaginable. As their spacecraft, the Odyssey, was prepped for departure, tensions ran high. Media outlets speculated endlessly. Some called it humanity's greatest adventure. Others warned of inevitable disaster. Governments debated the risks, yet the crew's resolve was unshakable. Fear existed, certainly, but it was counterbalanced by courage, the courage that had propelled humanity to land on the moon, to explore the outer planets, and to survive against impossible odds on Earth itself. The journey to the signal's origin was long, stretching across billions of kilometers of darkness. Every crew member felt the isolation of space pressing in. The stars glimmered cold and distant, the silence absolute. But something about the signal made the darkness feel alive. Instruments began to pick up fluctuations in the gravitational field near the source. Strange readings suggested mass bending space itself. Satellites that had been reliable began to flicker and fail. Systems that should have been stable experienced inexplicable malfunctions. The crew realized with a chill that unseen observers, entities far more advanced than humans, were monitoring their approach. On the 17th day of their journey, Elena noticed a subtle shift in the signal. The pattern seemed to adapt to the Odyssey's trajectory, almost as if it were aware of their movement. "It's reacting to us," she said, her voice tight with tension. "It's studying us, or testing us." Commander Hale's jaw tightened. "Then we have to be ready for anything. Keep your eyes open. Every system, every instrument. It's our lifeline." The further they approached, the more the anomalies intensified. Space itself seemed to warp. The stars bent, not in a natural way, but as if reality itself were being manipulated. Instruments went haywire. The crew felt disoriented, small tremors running through the ship as though the void itself were alive. Arjun Patel, monitoring navigation, reported sudden bursts of energy from nowhere. "It's like something out of science fiction," he muttered, eyes wide. "But it's real. It's happening." Nights in the Odyssey grew long and sleepless. Crew members took shifts observing the signal and maintaining the ship. Each moment of silence carried tension. Every unexplained pulse, every flicker of energy, sent shivers down their spines. Yet amid fear, determination burned stronger. Humanity had always faced the unknown, and even against forces beyond imagination, humans did not back down. Then, on the 22nd day, something extraordinary occurred. The signal shifted again, this time forming patterns that resembled a map. Elena's voice cracked with excitement and disbelief. It's showing coordinates. Something wants us to go somewhere." Commander Hale considered the implications. "Do we follow it? Or is this a trap?" Silence followed. Every crew member understood the risk. Following an unknown alien signal could lead to contact, discovery, or death. Yet the possibility of knowledge, of making first contact with a civilization far beyond Earth's, outweighed fear. They had trained for uncertainty, for danger, for moments when logic alone could not guide a human heart. As they aligned the Odyssey with the coordinates, subtle hints of movement appeared at the edge of perception. Shadows in space flickered, too large and precise to be mere cosmic debris. Sensors detected objects, vast, unseen, tracking their trajectory. Humanity was being watched. The crew felt both terror and exhilaration. Their decision to answer the signal had not gone unnoticed. Something ancient, something powerful had noticed humanity, and it was curious. The journey became a test, not of skill alone, but of courage, patience, and heart. The crew faced malfunctions, mysterious energy surges, and psychological strain as the vast emptiness pressed on them. They argued, feared, doubted, but always returned to resolve. Every human instinct, every shared glance, every whispered reassurance carried weight. They were representing all of humanity in the void, and failure was not an option. By the 30th day, they arrived at the origin point. Before them floated an alien structure, immense and impossible, suspended in the void without propulsion, rotation, or explanation. The signal emanated from its core, pulsing with a rhythm that seemed alive. Elena Rossi stared in awe. "It's not just a machine, it's a sentinel. It's been waiting for us, or someone like us, for eons." Commander Hale nodded, voice firm but tinged with awe. "We've crossed a threshold. Nothing will ever be the same." The first moments of observation were tense. Crew members monitored energy emissions, structural patterns, and the constant pulse of the signal. It was mesmerizing, terrifying, and awe-inspiring. The silence of space had been replaced with anticipation. Humanity had answered a call not meant for them. They had stepped into a cosmic mystery, into a game whose rules they could not yet understand. Yet, in the depths of space, something else stirred. Unseen observers, massive and ancient, shifted slightly, their attention fully on the humans. The signal was only the beginning. Humanity had been noticed, evaluated, and now they had a choice: retreat, survive, or continue forward into unknown danger. And humans, driven by curiosity, hope, and indomitable courage, would do what they had always done. They would face the impossible, step into the unknown, and answer the call, no matter the cost. The stage was set for first contact, for discovery, and for conflict. Humanity's curiosity had awakened something older, something far more advanced. And as the crew prepared to move closer to the alien sentinel, every heartbeat echoed with anticipation. Every glance carried fear and hope, and every human aboard the Odyssey knew one truth: the universe had noticed humanity, and nothing would ever be the same again. The crew of the Odyssey stared at the alien sentinel floating silently in the void. The pulse of the signal resonated through the ship, shaking instruments and sending subtle vibrations through the hull. Dr. Elena Rossi leaned over the console, eyes wide, fingers flying over the keys. It's not just repeating. It's a message. A warning," she whispered, her voice trembling with both awe and fear. The warning was encoded in layers so complex that even the most advanced human computers struggled to interpret it. Each time they thought they had made progress, the signal shifted, adapting as if aware of their understanding. The message contained strange symbols, interweaving mathematics, physics, and a language beyond human comprehension. Yet amidst the incomprehensible data, one thing became clear. The signal was not meant for humans. It was meant for something far older, far more advanced, something that had been watching civilizations rise and fall across galaxies. Commander Marcus Hale felt a chill run down his spine. If this wasn't for us, why are we seeing it? Why are we able to understand even part of it? His voice was low, heavy with tension. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Lieutenant Arjun Patel adjusted the display, highlighting segments that suggested observational notes. It's like they're keeping records, measurements, probabilities. They've cataloged every species they've ever seen. And they've marked us as curious, dangerous. Arjun added, voice shaking slightly. Humanity's place in the universe suddenly felt fragile. They were not meant to see this, not meant to respond. Yet the pulse continued, almost beckoning. It was as if the aliens themselves were testing the limits of human audacity, seeing whether a species aware of its own smallness would dare to act anyway. Dr. Mei Ling, the physicist, frowned at the holographic display. They've labeled us unprepared, unready. They've predicted our behaviors. They even anticipate that we might answer, despite knowing it could be fatal. Her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted the console. They don't want us to respond. We're not on their intended path. And yet, here we are. The weight of their actions pressed down on every crew member. The silence of space, once comforting, now felt oppressive. The vast emptiness around them was not empty at all. It was alive with attention. Eyes they could not see, intelligence they could not match, and judgment they could not predict. Panic threatened to rise, but training, courage, and human stubbornness held it at bay. "Are we going to send a response?" asked Lieutenant Arjun, his voice barely above a whisper. Commander Hale's jaw tightened. "We've come this far. We can't turn back. Even if it's dangerous, even if it's a trap, we have to try. Humanity doesn't retreat in the face of knowledge." His eyes met Elena's. "We answer, but carefully. Every word, every pattern, every pulse must be precise. One mistake and it could be the end." As they began crafting a reply, every action was measured, every calculation exact. The crew felt the gravity of their decision, not just for themselves, but for all of humanity. If they succeeded, they might open a doorway to knowledge beyond imagination. If they failed, they could trigger forces beyond Earth's capacity to survive. Hours turned into tense days as they encoded the response. Each crew member labored with exhaustion and fear. Elena worked with delicate precision, translating patterns into human-understandable formats while trying to maintain the integrity of the alien code. Mei Ling calculated energy outputs, navigational trajectories, and the safest transmission method. Arjun monitored every system for interference or reaction, and Hale coordinated every move, every contingency, every risk. During one long, silent night in the void, the crew gathered in the observation deck. Stars stretched infinitely, cold and distant. Yet somewhere in that infinite darkness, something ancient and intelligent was watching them. Elena spoke softly, almost to the stars themselves. "We're stepping into something we're not ready for, but maybe that's what being human means. We act, we hope, we take risks that no one else would dare. Even if it's impossible, we try." Arjun's eyes met hers. "And even if it kills us?" he asked. Elena nodded. "Even then, we are human." Finally, after meticulous work, the message was ready. The Odyssey transmitted the reply, a precise, cautious acknowledgement that humanity had received the signal and was responding. The pulse sent waves through space, a beacon that humanity had chosen to step forward despite warnings, a signal that shouted, "We exist. We are aware. We are curious. And we will answer." Almost immediately, anomalies intensified. Space around the Sentinel shimmered unnaturally. Gravitational distortions grew stronger. Instruments went haywire. Shadows flitted just beyond sensor range. It was clear the aliens had noticed not just the presence of humans, but their audacity. They were watching reactions, calculating risks, and judging every decision. Humanity's answer had crossed a line that they were warned never to cross. The crew of the Odyssey felt the weight of their defiance. Fear, tension, and adrenaline coursed through every member. Yet beneath it all was a fierce, stubborn pride. They had acted despite impossible odds. They had chosen curiosity over caution, courage over retreat. And in doing so, they had drawn the attention of beings older and more powerful than anything humanity had ever imagined. That night, as the crew slept in shifts, every dream was haunted by the unknown. Shadows that moved beyond reality, voices that whispered in mathematical patterns, visions of civilizations rising and falling across the stars. Humans glimpsed the vastness of intelligence far beyond Earth. Yet when they awoke, their resolve had only strengthened. Humanity had chosen to answer. Humanity had stepped into the impossible. And humanity, as always, would face whatever came next with courage, ingenuity, and heart. The first contact or first provocation was complete. The alien observers had noticed humanity. They had evaluated human curiosity, courage, and audacity. And the galaxy had just been alerted to the fact that Earth's children did not follow rules. They made them. The stage was set for discovery, for danger, and for a test of humanity that would challenge every instinct, every skill, and every emotion. The forbidden message was only the beginning. As the Odyssey drifted closer to the source, the pulse of the signal seemed to grow stronger, almost alive. Something ancient, something intelligent, something vast was waiting. And humanity had chosen to answer. They were no longer just observers in the universe. They were participants. And in the silent void, with every flicker of alien energy and every shadow beyond the sensors, the crew understood one undeniable truth. The universe had warned them not to act, but humans always answer. The Odyssey drifted silently through the dark expanse beyond Pluto, closer to the source of the signal than any human vessel had ever ventured. The crew's hearts raced with a mixture of fear, anticipation, and awe. Every blinking light on the control panels, every subtle vibration through the hull reminded them that they were far from home, far from safety, and far beyond the boundaries of human knowledge. Commander Marcus Hale stood at the observation deck, staring into the darkness. Shadows moved against the starfield, large, deliberate, and precise. His jaw tightened. Everyone, prepare for the unexpected. We are not alone. And whatever is out there, it is not human. The first alien vessels emerged suddenly, like ghosts sliding out of the void. They were immense, larger than any human warship, yet their design was elegant, almost artistic in its geometry. Smooth surfaces reflected distant starlight, while dark energy fields shimmered along their hulls. Instruments barely registered their mass. The Odyssey sensors struggled to measure the ship's speed and trajectory. It was as if these vessels existed partially out of phase with normal space, impossible to predict, yet perfectly aware of humanity's presence. Lieutenant Arjun Patel's hands trembled slightly as he monitored the alien ships. Commander, they're observing us. Not hostile, yet, but they are evaluating, calculating, watching every movement we make. He swallowed hard. I've never seen anything like this. Their presence, it's overwhelming. I can feel it, even through the instruments. Dr. Elena Rossi's eyes were glued to the holographic display. These aren't just ships. They're mobile observation platforms. Each one carries intelligence far beyond our comprehension. And I think they can read our energy signatures, our emotions. Every pulse, every heartbeat, every nervous tremor. They can detect it. Her voice shook slightly. We've been observed since the signal. They know we exist. They know what we are capable of or not. Silence settled across the bridge. The crew felt the weight of the unknown pressing against them. Every human instinct screamed caution, yet curiosity burned brighter than fear. Humanity had always faced the unknown with courage, and this was no exception. Commander Hale exhaled slowly. We maintain position. We observe. We record. But we do not retreat. We answer with intelligence, courage, and restraint. Humanity does not run from what it doesn't understand. As the Odyssey approached, strange phenomena began to manifest. Stars twisted in subtle patterns, bending light around the alien vessels. Space itself seemed to ripple, distorting distances and creating illusions of movement. Instruments registered impossible readings. Gravitational waves that shouldn't exist, energy fields that defied understanding, and magnetic fluctuations that threatened to scramble every system on the ship. Yet the crew endured, driven by determination and the knowledge that this moment could define humanity's place in the galaxy. Suddenly, a pulse emitted from the nearest vessel. It was unlike the original signal, sharper, more precise, almost alive. Screens lit with new patterns, shifting, calculating, responding to the Odyssey's position. The pulse carried intent, not a message, not yet, but assessment. It was as if the alien ship were asking, "Who are you? What are you capable of? Why are you here?" Dr. Mei Ling's hands flew over the navigation console, her mind racing to interpret the pulse. It's communicating in a pattern, but it's not language. It's probability, physics, and something else. They're testing us, seeing how we react. Her voice trembled with awe. We are the experiment. Fear threatened to paralyze the crew, but determination held it at bay. Every system officer double-checked shields, navigation, and life support. Every scientist calculated outcomes, probabilities, and contingencies. Humanity had faced impossible odds before, on Earth, in exploration, and in conflict. This was just a new frontier, one measured not in kilometers, but in courage, creativity, and adaptability. Hours stretched into tense observation. The alien ships moved gracefully, almost deliberately slow, as if to make humans aware of every motion. Sensors detected energy flows that seemed intelligent, patterns that changed based on the Odyssey's maneuvers. Each subtle adjustment the humans made was met with corresponding shifts from the alien vessels. The crew realized with a mixture of terror and excitement. The aliens could anticipate their actions. And yet, humanity continued forward, because stepping back was not an option. Then, the most unsettling realization struck them. The vessels were not merely observing, they were aware of the humans' emotions. Elena felt a cold shiver run through her. "Commander, they can read us. Not with eyes, with energy, biosignals, emotional frequencies. They know when we're scared, when we hesitate, when we're confident. Everything we feel, they feel, and they're watching how we respond." The weight of that knowledge was profound. Humanity had always relied on ingenuity, courage, and unpredictability. But now, they faced beings that could measure those traits as easily as they measured mass and velocity. Every decision, every motion, every glance carried meaning. Yet humanity did not falter. They adjusted, adapted, and continued forward with steadfast courage. Suddenly, a small alien probe detached from one of the vessels and approached the Odyssey. It moved without sound, without detectable propulsion, and yet it arrived with perfect precision. The crew held their breath as sensors scanned the probe. It was observing, recording, and transmitting data back to its parent vessel. Elena realized that the probe was more than a scout, it was a judge. Humanity's skills, reactions, and bravery were being catalogued. As the probe hovered near the Odyssey, strange phenomena intensified. Lights flickered, systems briefly failed, and a low hum vibrated through the ship. Crew members felt unease settle into their bones. Yet through fear, something extraordinary shone. Pride. Humanity had stepped into the unknown. They had answered the signal when they were warned not to. They were here, facing beings far beyond comprehension, and they were not retreating. They were human. Commander Hale finally spoke, his voice steady and resolute. "We continue forward. We observe, we learn, and we endure. We answer with intelligence, courage, and heart. We do not run. Humanity does not bow to fear. Not now, not ever." As the Odyssey moved closer to the alien vessels, the crew witnessed something awe-inspiring. Light reflected off the hulls in patterns that seemed like written language, but on a scale no human could fully grasp. Energy flowed along the ships like rivers of living light. And somewhere, deep in the void, the first recognition flickered. The aliens had noticed humanity, not just as a species, but as a force capable of defying expectation, of learning, adapting, and surviving against impossible odds. In that moment, fear and awe merged with something deeper. The crew understood the stakes. Every heartbeat, every action, every choice mattered. The universe was watching, measuring, and judging humanity. And for the first time, humans realized something extraordinary. They were no longer just observers in the galaxy. They were participants, and their actions, guided by courage, curiosity, and unity, would echo far beyond the void. The first contact, or first true awareness, was complete. Humanity had stepped into the presence of something far older, far wiser, and far more powerful than themselves. And yet, through fear, through awe, through tension and uncertainty, one truth shone brighter than the darkness of space. Humans do not retreat from the unknown. Humans face it. Humans endure. Humans answer. And somewhere, deep in the alien observation fleet, calculations shifted, probabilities adjusted, and a new assessment formed. This species is unpredictable. They are dangerous. They are human. The stage was set for discovery, for risk, and for the trials to come. Humanity had answered the signal. And in doing so, they had marked themselves on the galaxy's radar, not as prey, not as curiosity, but as a force that could not be ignored. The Odyssey floated silently in the void, mere kilometers from the alien sentinel and its vast fleet. The crew felt the weight of every second, every heartbeat amplified by the presence of the incomprehensible beings before them. The alien ships moved with purpose, yet gracefully, as if they existed in a rhythm of space humans could barely perceive. Their sensors flickered under strange energy waves, and the gravity around them seemed to bend and twist unnaturally. Commander Marcus Hale leaned over the observation console, his eyes scanning the dark shapes of the alien fleet. "We've observed long enough," he said, voice calm but resolute. "We've waited. We've recorded. But humanity does not remain passive when faced with the unknown. We move. We act. That is who we are." Dr. Elena Rossi's fingers trembled as she manipulated the alien data streams. "They're testing us, watching every small action, every reaction. If we make a mistake, they could decide we are not worth the trouble." Her voice was tight with tension. "But I think if we act, if we demonstrate our ingenuity and courage, we can show them what humans are capable of." Lieutenant Arjun Patel adjusted the ship's navigation, heart racing. "We're about to enter unknown territory. These ships, they're not just observing. They're analyzing us. Everything we do will be recorded, calculated, and possibly judged. We're stepping into a level of danger humanity has never faced before. But humanity's instinct is not fear. It is courage, curiosity, and action." Commander Hale's eyes hardened with determination. "We move forward. We strike curiosity. We show them that humans do not simply follow rules. We adapt. We improvise. We endure. That is our strength." The Odyssey initiated its first maneuver, a deliberate approach toward one of the smaller alien vessels, testing defenses, gauging reactions. The sensors began to read impossible energy fluctuations. Instruments that had been stable for years flickered unpredictably, yet the ship held firm. Elena noticed the alien energy pulsing in patterns that responded directly to their movement, almost as if the ship were alive. "They're watching, analyzing, responding," she said softly. "Every decision we make is creating a reaction. We are the experiment." The first probe of human strategy was bold but precise. Using stealth fields, the crew approached the alien vessel at angles that defied conventional physics, guided by intuition and calculated risk. The ship's AI and navigation systems strained to compensate for the unpredictable distortions of space around the alien sentinel. Every crew member felt the tension, the kind that grips the chest and quickens the pulse, the kind that reminds a human they are alive and small, yet capable. Suddenly, alien drones detached from the vessel. They were sleek, silent, and faster than anything the Odyssey had ever seen. Their sensors focused on the ship, scanning, recording, and analyzing every detail. Panic could have taken over, but the crew did not falter. They relied on ingenuity, improvisation, and the courage that had defined humans for millennia. Using the ship's experimental countermeasures, they deployed decoys, energy reflections, and subtle gravitational distortions, confusing the drones long enough to complete their observation. Dr. Mei Ling, monitoring the alien response, whispered with awe, They're impressed. I think they recognize unpredictability. They understand that we are not simply another species to catalog. We are different. Even in the void, far from Earth, humanity's emotional core shone. Fear, yes, but also pride, hope, and exhilaration. Each successful maneuver, each clever adaptation, each calculated risk demonstrated a fundamental truth. Humans act with heart. The aliens, advanced as they were, could predict patterns, but humans introduced variables they could not calculate. Intuition, courage, improvisation, and defiance. Hours passed with tense, silent observation and daring maneuvers. The Odyssey wove through energy distortions and shifting gravitational fields, each crew member's focus absolute. Every subtle adjustment, every small decision, carried the weight of potential catastrophe, but also the potential for revelation. Humanity's boldness was not reckless. It was calculated, precise, and deeply human. Then came the first direct interaction. A section of the alien sentinel opened like a flower, revealing intricate, glowing structures that emitted pulses of light and energy. The Odyssey responded in kind, sending calibrated signals to communicate, not words, but patterns, sequences, and variations designed to demonstrate intelligence, creativity, and intent. The response was met with subtle shifts in the alien vessel, energy streams bending toward the human ship, almost like a cautious nod. The crew felt a mix of relief and awe. Humanity had been noticed, not as prey, not as insignificant observers, but as participants worthy of attention. The observation deck, usually quiet, buzzed with emotional energy. Crew members exchanged glances that spoke of pride, fear, and exhilaration all at once. Elena whispered almost to herself, "We did it. We showed them. They understand. They've seen what humans are capable of." Yet the danger was far from over. The alien vessels remained vast and unknowable. Every maneuver carried risk. Every pulse, every response from the alien fleet reminded the crew that they were in the presence of a civilization that had survived, observed, and dominated galaxies far older and wiser than Earth. And still, humans pressed forward because they had no choice. Curiosity, courage, and the unbreakable human spirit demanded it. As the Odyssey maneuvered closer, Commander Hale addressed the crew. "This is only the beginning. We have made our presence known. We have demonstrated ingenuity, courage, and heart. But the universe will continue to test us. We must remain vigilant, adaptive, and brave. Humanity survives because we act, because we endure, because we refuse to bow to fear." The alien fleet, massive and silent, seemed to acknowledge humanity's boldness. Energy patterns pulsed rhythmically, almost like recognition. Observers that had once studied humans as small, insignificant creatures now recalculated their assessment. These beings, ancient and far beyond human comprehension, began to see the unpredictable, indomitable spark that defined the human species. And in that silent acknowledgement, the crew of the Odyssey felt something extraordinary. The fear and awe that had accompanied them from the moment they first answered the signal transformed into pride, determination, and unshakable resolve. They had stepped into the unknown, faced beings that could see and measure their very thoughts, and acted with courage and ingenuity. Humanity had struck curiosity, not recklessly, but boldly, emotionally, and with heart. As stars glimmered coldly around them and the alien vessels pulsed in quiet observation, the crew understood a profound truth. The universe had been warned that humans might be dangerous, and now, They had confirmed it themselves. They were not merely participants in this cosmic experiment. They were actors who could shape the outcome, who could survive and adapt against impossible odds. And humanity, as always, would not back down. The stage was set for trials, tests, and revelations far beyond imagination. Humanity had struck curiosity. The aliens had noticed, and in the darkness of the void, the first threads of understanding and first sparks of fear in the ancient observers had begun to form. The Odyssey hung in the dark, unbroken expanse of space, its hull gleaming faintly in reflected starlight. The alien fleet loomed around it like silent sentinels, their shapes immense and incomprehensible, their energy fields pulsing with life and awareness. The crew of the Odyssey had faced observation, analysis, and subtle communication. But now, something had shifted. The aliens were no longer just watching, they were testing. Commander Marcus Hale stood on the observation deck, eyes scanning the dark, impossible shapes of the alien fleet. "This is it," he said, voice low but resolute. "They've seen what we can do. They've acknowledged our presence. Now, they want to see if we can endure, if we can adapt, if we can survive." Dr. Elena Rossi, her fingers tracing alien code streams on the holographic display, whispered, "They're creating obstacles. Not traps, not attacks. Yet, they're testing decision-making, courage, endurance, and ingenuity. Every move we make now is being measured, recorded, and interpreted." Her voice trembled. "This is the moment humanity proves itself." The first test came without warning. A sudden wave of gravitational distortion rippled across space. The Odyssey trembled as though caught in an invisible storm. Instruments flared, alarms blared softly, and energy fields outside the hull shimmered in strange patterns. Crew members grasped consoles, bracing against the sudden pull that tugged at their bodies and the ship alike. Lieutenant Arjun Patel's eyes widened. "Commander, the distortion it's alive. It's not random. It's responding to our position, our movements." He adjusted navigational thrusters rapidly, trying to stabilize the ship. "Every course correction they anticipate." Commander Hale clenched his fists, jaw tight. "Then we adapt. We don't panic. We improvise. Humanity survives because we act, even when the odds are impossible." He looked at his crew, all tense, all aware of the immense danger. "This is what we were born for, to endure, to face the impossible, to step forward when others would retreat." As the Odyssey navigated the first wave, the distortions intensified. Space twisted unnaturally, light bent in impossible directions, and faint, whisper-like pulses radiated from the alien vessels. The crew realized these were tests not only of their skills but also of their emotional resilience. The aliens could sense fear, hesitation, even doubt. Every reaction was catalogued, every heartbeat noted. Dr. Mei Ling monitored the ship's energy fields. "Commander, they're evaluating how we respond under pressure. Every wrong move could be catastrophic, but every successful adaptation demonstrates courage and ingenuity. They are learning about us as fast as we learn about them." Her voice shook, but her determination was unwavering. Hours stretched into tense, unbroken trials. The Odyssey encountered waves of spatial anomalies, pulses that scrambled sensors, energy fields that threatened to disable propulsion, and shadows that flitted just beyond detection, moving with intent. Yet through it all, humanity's resolve never wavered. Every crew member pushed beyond fear, beyond fatigue, beyond the limits of what they thought possible. In the observation deck, Elena whispered to herself, "We are tiny, so small, yet we endure. We are human." The words echoed in the minds of the crew. Fear was present, but it was drowned out by courage, determination, and the unyielding desire to survive and learn. Humanity had always faced impossible odds on Earth, on the Moon, in the farthest reaches of their solar system. And now, in the vastness of the void, they faced an entity far older and wiser than any challenge before. Then came the second trial. A focused energy stream from one of the larger alien vessels enveloped the Odyssey. It wasn't hostile in intent but entirely disorienting. Lights flickered, Instruments failed, and the hull shuddered under the invisible force. Crew members felt nausea, disorientation, and a creeping panic that threatened to overwhelm focus. Arjun struggled at the controls. "We can't fight it. We have to flow with it." He twisted the ship along unconventional axes, following instinct and precise calculations. "We move where they do not expect, where we can survive." Dr. Mei Ling's hands flew over the energy modulators. "We have to synchronize the ship with the pulse. It's a rhythm. If we match it, if we endure, we show them our resilience." For what felt like an eternity, the Odyssey moved through the invisible maze, every motion, every adjustment, every pulse of energy a test of courage and intellect. Crew members worked in unison, hearts pounding, muscles aching, minds straining to anticipate and respond. Fear was omnipresent, but they transformed it into determination. Every human instinct, every ounce of training, every shred of courage mattered. Finally, the energy stream subsided. The Odyssey stabilized. Silence returned, though it was tense, almost watchful. The alien vessels had not attacked, they had tested, observed, and catalogued. Humanity had endured. Humanity had adapted. Humanity had survived. And in that endurance, something remarkable occurred. Subtle shifts in the alien fleet. Energy patterns pulsed in acknowledgement, almost like approval. The observers had taken note. Commander Hale exhaled slowly, a mixture of relief and pride washing over him. "They've seen it. We've survived their first test. But this is only the beginning. They will push further. They will escalate. And we will endure." Elena turned from the console, eyes shining with emotion. "Every pulse, every shadow, every anomaly. They tested more than our skills. They tested our courage, our humanity. And we answered. Even here, in the void, we have proven who we are." The crew understood the weight of the moment. They were no longer merely explorers. They were representatives of Earth itself. Every action, every decision, every heartbeat mattered. And in the presence of beings older than stars, humans had demonstrated the defining quality that had allowed their species to endure against impossible odds. Unbreakable courage. As the Odyssey drifted further, the alien fleet seemed to recede slightly, allowing observation but creating a silent, looming pressure. The crew knew that the next trials would be even harder, more dangerous, and perhaps life-threatening. Yet through fear, fatigue, and isolation, one truth resonated. Humanity survives by acting, by enduring, and by facing impossible odds with heart, intellect, and courage. For the first time, in the darkness of space, the crew felt a glimmer of respect from the ancient, incomprehensible observers. Humanity had survived the first test. Humanity had struck courage. And humanity would endure whatever came next. The stage was set for further trials, for tests of ingenuity and resilience that would push humans to the very edge of survival. But in this first trial, in this crucible of fear and awe, one truth had been etched in the stars. Humans do not yield. Humans endure. Humans answer the impossible. The Odyssey floated in silence, but the void was no longer empty. The alien fleet had intensified their presence. Shadows of immense vessels stretched across space like silent predators, their dark hulls reflecting faint starlight in impossible patterns. Energy pulses radiated from them, twisting reality, bending instruments, and challenging every law of physics humans had ever known. Commander Marcus Hale stood at the observation deck, jaw tight, eyes scanning the vast shapes. Every heartbeat in the crew resonated with tension. Every breath carried the weight of survival. "They've escalated," he said quietly, almost to himself. "They are no longer testing curiosity or courage. They are probing our limits. They want to see how far humanity can endure." Dr. Elena Rossi monitored the alien energy streams, her fingers trembling over the holographic interface. "They're creating anomalies directly around the ship, localized gravity distortions, energy pulses, spatial folding. Every system we rely on could fail in seconds." Her voice wavered, but her determination was strong. "If we falter, we don't just fail, we perish. Every decision now carries the weight of life and death. The first strike came subtly. A ripple in space, invisible to the naked eye, tore through the Odyssey's hull. Instruments screamed as gravity fluctuated, threatening to crush the ship from the inside. Crew members clutched rails, bracing against the sudden force. Elena's voice cut through the alarms. "Brace! All hands, brace! We are at the edge." Lieutenant Arjun Patel gritted his teeth at the navigation controls. "We can't fight it directly, we have to flow, adjust, survive. Every calculation has to be perfect. One misstep," he swallowed hard, "and we're gone." Commander Hale's eyes hardened. "Do what humans always do. Adapt, endure, survive. This is what defines us. Fear is real, but courage is stronger." For hours, the Odyssey danced along the razor edge of disaster. Energy pulses from the alien fleet bent reality, twisting the very fabric of space. Gravity wells appeared and vanished. Shadows moved against starfields, and the ship's instruments flickered between impossible readings. Every crew member's mind strained to anticipate the next threat, to react in time, to survive. The tension was physical, like a pressure pressing against their bones. Amid the chaos, the emotional toll was immense. Elena whispered, almost to herself, "We are so small, so fragile. Yet we endure. Humanity survives. Because we fight even when hope seems impossible." Her eyes glistened with unshed tears, pride and fear intertwined. Dr. Mei Ling monitored the energy flux. "Commander, they're testing more than just the ship. They're testing us, our reactions, our endurance, our emotional resilience. Every sign of fear, hesitation, or doubt is being recorded. They are judging our worth." Hale's jaw tightened. "Then we prove ourselves worthy. Humanity survives not by waiting, not by hiding, but by acting, by enduring the impossible, by facing death and refusing to surrender." The next challenge was even more dangerous. A vortex of shifting energy appeared ahead of the Odyssey, a living, moving anomaly that distorted everything around it. The ship's hull groaned as gravitational forces bent in impossible ways. Lights flickered, alarms screamed, and every system teetered on the brink of failure. Crew members gritted their teeth, hands flying over controls, minds racing faster than the ship could move. Arjun shouted over the alarms, voice strained, "We can survive this if we synchronize the thrusters with the pulses. We move as one with the anomaly. Every misstep and he faltered, taking a deep breath. "We don't survive." Elena and Mei Ling worked in tandem, recalibrating shields, adjusting energy fields, stabilizing life support, and reprogramming the ship to flow with the unpredictable forces. Sweat ran down their faces, fingers numb, minds sharp despite exhaustion. Every human instinct, every ounce of training, every shred of courage was being tested in real time. Hours dragged like centuries. The Odyssey swayed, trembled, and twisted through the anomaly, its crew holding on to hope, determination, and the stubborn will to survive. Every pulse from the alien fleet tested them. Every shadow, every subtle distortion reminded them how small, fragile, and insignificant they seemed in the vastness of the universe. And yet, through fear, through physical strain, through emotional exhaustion, humanity endured. Every crew member pushed beyond limits, beyond fatigue, beyond the edge of fear. They adapted, survived, and even thrived in the chaos. They were human. They were defiant. They were alive. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the anomaly dissipated. The Odyssey emerged, battered but intact. Systems flickered back online. Crew members slumped, breathing heavily, hearts still racing. Commander Hale exhaled slowly, a mix of relief, pride, and awe in his eyes. "We survived the edge," he whispered. "We endured what no human has ever faced. But this is only the beginning. The universe is far older, far stronger, and far more dangerous than we imagined." Elena wiped sweat from her brow, tears of relief and pride shining in her eyes. "We've shown them we've survived, and they've noticed. They understand now that humanity doesn't yield. Humanity endures, even at the edge of oblivion. Mei Ling nodded, exhausted but resolute. They're not just testing technology. They're testing spirit, resilience, courage. They are seeing what humans are capable of when pushed to the brink. The alien fleet pulsed subtly, almost imperceptibly, as if acknowledging humanity's survival. The Odyssey crew realized that the beings they faced were not simply observing. They were aware of every emotion, every decision, every flicker of courage that had kept them alive. Humanity had survived the edge, and in doing so, had sent a message across the void. They were unpredictable, resilient, and alive. Commander Hale looked at the crew, pride swelling in his chest. This is who we are. We face the impossible. We endure. We survive. We answer the universe, even when it warns us to stay silent. Humanity does not retreat. Humanity endures. Humanity conquers fear with courage and despair with hope. The crew of the Odyssey felt a deep, unshakable bond, not just with each other, but with all of humanity. Across the infinite expanse of space, against forces that dwarfed understanding, they had endured. And somewhere, in the consciousness of the ancient alien fleet, a realization had begun to form. Humans were not ordinary. They were dangerous. They were relentless. They were human. The stage was set for further trials, even greater dangers and challenges that would test every skill, every instinct, and every emotion. But one truth shone through the darkness of space. Humanity survives on the edge of the impossible, and they will not yield. The Odyssey floated in the void, battered but unbroken. The alien fleet, immense and incomprehensible, had tested humanity's courage, endurance, and adaptability, but now the humans would respond. Commander Marcus Hale stood at the observation deck, eyes scanning the dark, geometric forms of the alien vessels. "They've tested us," he said, voice steady but charged with intensity. "Now it's our turn to act. Humanity does not endure quietly. Humanity strikes back." Dr. Elena Rossi adjusted the ship's tactical interface, a mix of exhilaration and fear lighting her eyes. "We've learned their patterns, their energy pulses, their predictive scans. We can use what we've endured to turn the tables." Her fingers flew over the controls, recalibrating shields, weapons, and experimental energy modulators. "If they think we are just reactive, they are wrong. Humanity adapts. Humanity acts. Humanity conquers fear with courage and pressure with strategy." Lieutenant Arjun Patel's hands moved with precision, navigating the Odyssey into positions that were unpredictable yet calculated. "We're no longer just surviving," he said, voice tight with excitement and tension. "We're responding. Every maneuver, every shift, every pulse we send back, they won't anticipate it. They might be ancient, powerful, but humans are unpredictable." The first strike was subtle. Using energy reflections and modulated gravitational pulses, the Odyssey created controlled disturbances in the alien observation fields. The fleet's sensors faltered, their predictive calculations disrupted. For the first time, the aliens seemed cautious, their movements deliberate yet slower, as if analyzing the unexpected human action. The crew felt a surge of awe and exhilaration. Humanity had acted. Humanity had responded. Dr. Mei Ling monitored the energy flow, voice trembling with excitement. "Commander, they are adjusting their response. They didn't anticipate this level of adaptation. Every maneuver we make is changing their calculations. We are no longer the observed. We are participants influencing the game." The Odyssey moved closer to one of the smaller alien vessels, its hull glinting in reflected starlight. Commander Hale issued precise, calm orders. "Maintain shields at maximum. Engage energy modulators at calculated frequencies. We strike strategically, not recklessly. Every action must reflect human ingenuity and courage." The crew executed maneuvers that combined agility, intellect, and courage. The alien vessel pulsed, energy flows bending in ways that responded to human movements. It was as if the ship were alive, testing, calculating, and reacting. Yet humanity was no longer passive. They were clever, precise, and daring. Every calculation, Every instinct, every ounce of courage mattered. Suddenly, the alien fleet launched countermeasures. Streams of energy that could disable human instruments, gravity distortions that could crush ships, and unpredictable pulses that threatened the Odyssey's hull integrity. Panic could have taken over, but the crew did not falter. They flowed with the anomalies, using knowledge gained from previous trials. Every adjustment was measured, deliberate, and courageous. Humanity's will burned brighter than fear. Hours of strategic maneuvers continued. The Odyssey danced along the edges of destruction, each motion precise yet bold, each pulse calculated yet daring. The crew's hearts pounded, minds sharp, bodies exhausted, yet their spirit remained unbroken. They were human, they were courageous, they were relentless. Then came the boldest move. Commander Hale initiated a maneuver that no human had attempted before. The Odyssey synchronized its energy field with the residual pulses of the alien vessel, creating a resonance that temporarily destabilized the enemy's sensors. The alien ship staggered, its energy patterns fluctuating wildly. Humanity had struck a blow, not destructive, but undeniable. They were clever, audacious, and fearless. Elena's voice trembled with awe. We've done it, we've disrupted them. They can't predict everything. Humanity is not just enduring. Humanity is acting, shaping the encounter, making the impossible possible. Arjun smiled despite exhaustion, eyes shining. They underestimated us. They tested us, yes, but they didn't know the depth of human creativity, courage, and adaptability. We are alive. We are unpredictable. And we are here to survive, no matter what comes. The alien fleet pulsed in subtle acknowledgement. For the first time, the immense and ancient observers seemed to recognize not just survival, but active defiance, ingenuity, and courage. Humanity was no longer merely reacting. They were influencing, daring, and shaping the encounter. Hours stretched into tense, continuous maneuvers. Every crew member pushed beyond fatigue, beyond fear, beyond limits they didn't know they possessed. Each movement, each calculation, each pulse of energy was an expression of human ingenuity and unyielding will. They were no longer simply surviving, they were asserting themselves in the galaxy, making a statement across the void. Humans do not yield, do not flee, and do not surrender to fear or power. Finally, the alien fleet recoiled slightly, creating space around the Odyssey. It was not retreat, not yet, but acknowledgement, recognition. Humanity had struck back. Humanity had acted. Humanity had survived, adapted, and influenced forces far beyond comprehension. Commander Hale looked at the crew, pride swelling in his chest. This is who we are. We endure. We act. We adapt. We are human. We do not bow to fear. We do not run from the impossible. We strike back with courage, ingenuity, and heart. Elena's eyes glistened with tears. We've shown them humanity is not just capable of survival. We are capable of action, defiance, and courage. And they will remember it. The Odyssey floated silently, yet charged with purpose. The alien fleet remained vast, ancient, and incomprehensible, but humanity had made its mark. They were no longer passive observers in a cosmic game. They were players. They were unpredictable. They were alive. And somewhere, deep within the consciousness of the alien fleet, calculations shifted, probabilities altered, and a new understanding formed. These humans are not ordinary. They are dangerous. They are relentless. They are human. The stage was set for greater confrontations, bolder strategies, and the ultimate tests of courage, ingenuity, and heart. Humanity had struck back, and the universe would never underestimate them again. The Odyssey drifted silently through the void, battered yet unbroken. The alien fleet, immense and ancient, loomed like titans of the dark, their shapes almost incomprehensible to human eyes. Pulses of energy rippled through the void, subtle yet deliberate, as though the fleet itself were breathing, watching, calculating. The crew of the Odyssey felt the tension, every heartbeat magnified, every breath heavy with the weight of the impossible. Commander Marcus Hale stood at the observation deck, jaw tight, eyes scanning the alien vessels. They've tested us. They've pushed us to the edge. But now we turn. We strike with intelligence, with courage, with strategy. Humanity doesn't just survive. We adapt and we overcome. Dr. Elena Rossi's fingers flew over the tactical console, recalibrating energy fields, shields, and modulated pulses. We've learned their rhythms, she whispered, eyes wide with concentration. Their fleet is massive, yes, but they respond to patterns. We can exploit those patterns. Every test, every challenge, every anomaly they sent, humanity endured and observed. Now we act. Lieutenant Arjun Patel adjusted the ship's trajectory, heart pounding. Every maneuver from here on has to be precise. Every pulse, every energy reflection, every deviation has to be perfect. One miscalculation and... He swallowed, his hands steady despite the tension. We don't survive, but if we succeed, we tip the scales. The first step was subtle yet daring. Using a combination of gravitational distortions and energy reflections, the Odyssey created controlled feedback loops in the alien sensors. Waves of energy bent unpredictably, confusing the fleet's predictive calculations. For the first time, subtle hesitation appeared in the alien formations. The observers had been confident. They had tested. They had anticipated. And yet humanity had adapted beyond expectation. Dr. Mei Ling watched the readings with wide eyes. Commander, they're recalculating. They didn't anticipate this level of strategy, this level of ingenuity. Humanity is not just surviving, they're responding. They're dictating terms subtly but clearly. The Odyssey moved closer to one of the larger vessels. Its hull glinted with strange alien energy, vast and unyielding. Commander Hale issued calm, precise orders. Engage decoy energy pulses. Synchronize with the reflected gravitational waves. We forced their attention on a false lead while we analyzed the core patterns of their fleet. Crew members worked in unison, hearts racing, minds sharp. Every action a combination of skill, courage, and instinct. Fear was ever present, but it was harnessed, transformed into precision and determination. Humanity was no longer merely surviving. They were influencing, shaping, dictating the flow of events. Hours passed with intense, continuous maneuvers. The alien fleet responded with pulses of energy that could cripple the Odyssey in moments, but the crew anticipated and adapted. Every shift, every movement, every subtle reflection of energy was a declaration. Humans are unpredictable. Humans endure. Humans fight back. Suddenly, an enormous pulse of energy rippled from the alien fleet. It was far stronger, more precise, more dangerous than anything before. The Odyssey trembled, alarms screaming, lights flickering. Crew members braced themselves, every instinct screaming that disaster could strike at any moment. Commander Hale's voice cut through the chaos, calm but commanding. Steady. Flow with it. Adapt. Survive. Humanity is not defined by fear. We define ourselves by courage, ingenuity, and resilience. Move as one. Act as one. The ship's shields pulsed in response, modulated by Elena and Mei Ling's precise adjustments. Energy reflected and refracted in patterns the alien fleet did not anticipate. The vast pulse weakened, then stabilized, and finally dissipated. Humanity had endured yet again, but this time it was not mere survival. It was mastery. They had turned the test into opportunity. Elena's voice shook with emotion. We've done it. We've not only survived, we've gained insight, leverage. They underestimated the human spirit. They assumed fear and hesitation would dictate our actions, but courage, intelligence, and heart guided us instead. Arjun grinned despite exhaustion. We're not just participants anymore. We're strategists. We're influencing the outcome. We're human, and humans don't bow. They adapt and conquer. The alien fleet pulsed subtly, almost imperceptibly, as if acknowledging the shift. For the first time, the ancient observers seemed cautious, calculating the humans with renewed attention. Humanity was no longer a minor species to monitor. They were intelligent, audacious, and dangerous. Commander Hale looked at his crew, pride swelling. This is the turning point. We've endured, survived, and now we act with strategy. Humanity doesn't just exist in the universe. Humanity shapes it, and they are beginning to understand that. Hours turned into tense, unbroken engagement. Every maneuver, every pulse, every reflection of energy reinforced one truth. Humans were alive, courageous, and relentless. They had survived the edge of destruction, turned trials into advantage, and shown that even against incomprehensible, ancient forces, human ingenuity and spirit could prevail. Finally, the Odyssey emerged from the encounter, battered but victorious in its own way. The alien fleet maintained formation but with a new awareness. Humanity had turned a test into opportunity. Humanity had acted decisively, strategically, and with heart. And in the silent acknowledgement of the vast observers, one undeniable truth crystallized. Humans were not ordinary. Humans were unpredictable. Humans were dangerous. Humans were alive. Commander Hale's voice resonated across the observation deck, calm, commanding, and full of conviction. This is what defines us: courage, ingenuity, heart, and relentless will. Humanity survives, acts, and shapes the universe, even against forces older than time itself. The turning point is ours, and we will not stop. Elena's eyes glistened with tears, pride and relief overwhelming exhaustion. We've shown them the human spirit, that we are not only survivors but actors, that our courage, intellect, and heart make us unstoppable. The Odyssey drifted onward, the alien fleet still vast, still powerful, but with subtle cracks in their certainty. Humanity had not just endured, they had acted, adapted, and shifted the balance. The turning point had arrived, and the universe would never see humans the same way again. The stage was set for even greater confrontations, bolder strategies, and the ultimate test of human resilience, courage, and ingenuity. Humanity had turned the tide, and in the endless void, the pulse of the human spirit burned brighter than ever. The Odyssey floated in the void, battered but alive. The alien fleet, immense, ancient, and incomprehensible, stretched across the darkness like living shadows. Every pulse of energy, every shimmer of light, every subtle distortion of space reminded the crew that they faced beings whose power spanned eons, whose intelligence was vast beyond measure. And yet, for the first time, humans were no longer merely reacting. They were planning, calculating, and daring. Commander Marcus Hale stood at the observation deck, jaw tight, eyes scanning the fleet. "We've endured," he said, voice steady but full of resolve. "We've adapted. We've survived every test. Now we gamble. Humanity acts boldly, not recklessly. But we strike where they least expect. We show them that courage is as dangerous as power." Dr. Elena Rossi adjusted the tactical interface, pulse racing, hands steady despite exhaustion. "We've learned their rhythms. We've mapped their responses. Their confidence is high. They believe observation and intimidation will control us. But we have insight, intuition, and daring. This is our gambit." Lieutenant Arjun Patel's hands flew over the controls, eyes sharp. Every maneuver, every energy reflection, every subtle distortion must be precise. One miscalculation, and this gambit fails. But if it succeeds, we turn fear into leverage, chaos into opportunity, and we make them realize that humans are unpredictable and relentless. The plan was audacious. Using the ship's energy modulators, the Odyssey created multiple decoy pulses, mirroring the energy signature of a full strike fleet. At the same time, they synchronized subtle gravitational distortions to mask their true approach toward the largest alien vessel. The alien fleet responded instinctively, adjusting positions to intercept threats that did not exist. Confusion rippled across the ancient observers' formations, something they had rarely experienced. Dr. Mei Ling monitored the alien responses, voice trembling with awe. "Commander, they're recalculating everything. They didn't anticipate this level of ingenuity. We are no longer just a curiosity. We are a threat, subtle but undeniable." The human spirit is unpredictable and dangerous. The Odyssey glided closer, following a path that defied conventional navigation, threading through energy pulses and gravitational anomalies with perfect timing. Every second carried the weight of life, death, and the fate of humanity's first bold move beyond mere survival. The crew's hearts pounded, muscles ached, but their focus was absolute. Fear existed, but it was a tool sharpened into courage. Suddenly, an immense pulse of alien energy erupted, far stronger than anything before. The Odyssey trembled as systems flickered and life support alarms screamed. Crew members clutched consoles and rails, bracing against the invisible force. Commander Hale's voice cut through the chaos, calm yet commanding. Steady. Flow with it. We turn pressure into advantage. Humanity acts under threat. This is who we are. Elena adjusted energy modulators, creating interference patterns that reflected the alien pulse back in subtle distortions, weakening its impact. We're using their power against them, she whispered, eyes wide with disbelief and excitement. We're not just surviving, we're shaping the battle. Hours stretched with tense, continuous maneuvers. Every pulse, every reflection, every distortion was executed with precision and daring. Crew members worked in unison, minds razor-sharp, hearts pounding, bodies pushed beyond fatigue. Every action mattered. Every decision carried weight beyond imagination. Humanity's ingenuity and courage shone brighter than fear. The gambit reached its apex. The Odyssey initiated the final maneuver, a direct approach toward the alien command vessel, concealed by decoy pulses and subtle energy distortions. For the first time, the humans were on the offensive, forcing the alien fleet to respond, react, and adapt to a species they had underestimated. Lieutenant Arjun gritted his teeth, voice tense. This is it. Every calculation, every reflection, every pulse. This is our chance to prove that humanity is unpredictable and relentless. If we succeed, the game changes forever. The alien fleet pulsed in rapid, calculated responses. Energy waves rippled through space, instruments flared, and the Odyssey's hull groaned under the invisible pressure. Crew members felt nausea, fear, and awe all at once, but they acted with precision, courage, and heart. Humanity was not backing down. Humanity was asserting its presence, intelligence, and will. Dr. Mei Ling whispered, almost to herself, "We are human, and we endure. We act. We adapt. We survive. And we are alive." The climax of the gambit arrived. The Odyssey synchronized its energy fields to resonate with the alien vessel's own pulses, creating a feedback loop that disrupted the fleet's calculations and forced a momentary pause in their coordinated formation. Humanity had gambled, and for the first time, the alien observers were caught off guard. They were powerful, ancient, intelligent, but they had not accounted for human audacity, courage, and adaptability. Commander Hale's voice rang through the observation deck, filled with awe, pride, and resolve. We have acted boldly. We have turned fear into leverage. We have shown the universe that humans are not predictable, not passive, and not insignificant. This gambit proves who we are. Elena's eyes glistened with tears. We've done it. We've taken control of the moment, however briefly. The aliens have seen us for who we truly are. Not just survivors, but actors, creators, humans who refuse to yield. The alien fleet pulsed subtly, a ripple of awareness passing through their formations. For the first time, humans were no longer merely objects to be observed. They were threats, players, and participants in a game far older and larger than themselves. Humanity had gambled, and humanity had forced recognition. Hours passed in tense, unbroken engagement, every crew member operating at the edge of endurance. Yet the result was clear. The Odyssey had survived, adapted, and influenced the alien fleet in ways that spoke of courage, intelligence, and indomitable spirit. Humanity had proven itself not just capable of survival, but of action, strategy, and audacity. Commander Hale looked at his crew, pride swelling. This is who we are. Courage, ingenuity, and heart define us. We endure, we act, we adapt, and we shape the universe, even when faced with forces older than stars themselves. Humanity gambles, and humanity prevails. The Odyssey floated in the void, battered but victorious in its own way. The alien fleet, massive and incomprehensible, maintained formation but with subtle hesitation. Humans had acted boldly, intelligently, and with courage. The gambit had succeeded. Humanity had shown that even against unimaginable power, the human spirit is unpredictable, relentless, and alive. And in the silent acknowledgement of the vast, ancient observers, one truth became undeniable. Humans were not ordinary. Humans were dangerous. Humans were cunning, courageous, and unstoppable. Humans were alive. The stage was set for the final trials, ultimate strategies, and the climax of confrontation. Humanity had played its gambit, and the universe would never underestimate them again. The Odyssey hung in the void, battered, exhausted, yet alive. The alien fleet, massive beyond comprehension, formed an unbroken wall across space, their energy pulses and gravitational fields twisting reality itself. Every crew member felt the immense weight of the moment. They had endured tests, survived trials, and gambled with intelligence. But now, everything culminated in a single decisive strike. Humanity's fate, and perhaps the fate of the galaxy, balanced on the edge of a blade. Commander Marcus Hale stood at the observation deck, jaw tight, eyes sharp. We've survived. We've adapted. We've struck boldly. Now we deliver the decisive blow. Humanity does not merely endure, we act, we shape, and we conquer the impossible. Dr. Elena Rossi's fingers danced across the tactical console, her pulse racing, sweat streaking her face. We've identified their central command vessel, their core energy nexus. If we can disrupt it, even momentarily, we create chaos across the fleet. The ancient intelligence behind them won't anticipate a coordinated human strike at this scale. This is our chance. Lieutenant Arjun Patel adjusted the Odyssey's trajectory, heart pounding. Every maneuver must be precise. One mistake, and everything fails. One wrong pulse, and we're annihilated. But if we succeed, humanity shows the universe that courage, intelligence, and heart are forces no power can ignore. The plan was daring, unprecedented. Using every insight gained from previous encounters, the Odyssey combined decoy energy pulses, gravitational distortions, and synchronized energy modulators to mask its approach. At the same time, it prepared a concentrated strike aimed at the alien fleet's central nexus, a core of unimaginable power that coordinated and amplified the entire formation. The tension on the ship was palpable. Every heartbeat, every breath, every decision could mean survival or destruction. Dr. Mei Ling's voice trembled with a mixture of fear and excitement. Commander, they will respond instantly. One error, one miscalculation, and the entire fleet reacts. But we've learned from every test, every trial, and we're ready. Humanity is ready. The Odyssey advanced, moving like a shadow between pulses of alien energy, threading through distorted space with precise calculation. The crew's bodies ached, minds strained, emotions raw, but determination burned brighter than fatigue or fear. Humans were alive, defiant, and focused. Suddenly, the alien fleet unleashed a torrent of energy, far stronger than anything before. The Odyssey trembled as shields flared, lights flickered, and alarms screamed. Crew members braced, hearts pounding, gripping consoles and rails, feeling the raw force of an intelligence older than stars itself. Commander Hale's voice rang out, calm and commanding. Steady, adapt, endure. Now we act decisively. Humanity does not yield to power. Humanity answers with courage, heart, and strategy. Strike with precision. Strike with intent. Strike as humans. Elena's fingers moved faster than thought, modulating energy flows, creating interference patterns that reflected and dispersed the alien strikes. We turned their power into opportunity. We used their strength against them. The Odyssey reached its critical position. The crew synchronized energy pulses with gravitational distortions, concentrating every ounce of human ingenuity, courage, and resilience into a single, overwhelming strike at the alien nexus. For a tense, heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Time seemed to slow. Space seemed to hold its breath. Every heartbeat echoed like a drum of destiny. Then, the alien core flared, an explosion of light and energy that rippled across the fleet. Vessels shuddered, energy fields wavered, and the vast formation staggered in disarray. The pulse echoed through the void, a message as loud as any words. Humans act. Humans endure. Humans strike with courage and intelligence. Crew members cheered quietly, tears streaming, voices choked with emotion. They had done it. They had survived, adapted, gambled, and delivered a decisive strike against beings far older, stronger, and wiser than themselves. Arjun's voice trembled with relief and pride. We did it. Humanity, we are alive. We endure. We act. We conquer. Elena whispered, almost to herself. They underestimated the human spirit. They assumed fear and hesitation would define us. But we've shown them. Courage, intelligence, and heart define us. We are human, and we endure. The alien fleet pulsed in subtle recognition, their immense intelligence acknowledging the humans not just as survivors, but as worthy, unpredictable, and dangerous opponents. For the first time, humanity was no longer a curiosity. Humanity was a force to be reckoned with. Commander Hale looked at his crew, pride and awe in his eyes. This is who we are. We face the impossible. We endure the tests. We act boldly. We strike decisively. Humanity is relentless. Humanity is courageous. Humanity is alive, and we will never yield. The Odyssey drifted onward, battered but victorious in spirit. The alien fleet, vast and incomprehensible, remained a presence in the void. But it was now aware, cautious, and calculating. Humanity had survived every test, turned every trial into opportunity, and delivered a decisive strike that would echo across the stars. In that moment, the crew understood the magnitude of their actions. Humanity had not only survived, they had acted, adapted, and proven that even against unimaginable power, courage, ingenuity, and heart could tip the balance. The decisive strike was not just a victory, it was a declaration. Humans are unpredictable, relentless, and alive. The stage was set for the final resolution, the ultimate confrontation that would determine not only the outcome of this encounter, but the recognition of humanity across the galaxy. Humanity had endured, acted, gambled, and now struck decisively. The universe would never see humans the same way again. The Odyssey floated in the silent void, battered, exhausted, but unbroken. The alien fleet, immense, incomprehensible, and ancient beyond measure, hung across space like silent titans. Yet for the first time, a shift had occurred. The humans were no longer merely observed, tested, or challenged. They had acted, endured, and struck decisively. Humanity had made its presence undeniable, and the consequences were about to unfold. Commander Marcus Hale stood at the observation deck, jaw tight, eyes scanning the alien formations. "We've survived," he said, voice low but filled with conviction. "We've adapted. We've gambled. We've struck decisively. And now we witness the result. Humanity endures. And now humanity triumphs." Dr. Elena Rossi's hands hovered over the tactical interface, fingers trembling from exhaustion and emotion. "We've destabilized their core nexus," she whispered, eyes wide. "Their energy coordination is fractured. Their fleet is responding unpredictably, hesitating. They've realized what we are capable of. They've realized humans are dangerous." Lieutenant Arjun Patel's gaze was locked on the screens showing the fleet's chaotic movements. They're recalculating. They've been forced to respond, forced to adapt, and for the first time, they are unsure. Humanity has pushed them to the edge, and we are still standing. We are alive. We are human. The crew of the Odyssey felt the culmination of every trial, every challenge, every gamble. The fear, exhaustion, and tension of countless hours, days, or perhaps weeks of continuous engagement coalesced into a single moment of clarity. Humanity had prevailed not through brute force alone, but through courage, ingenuity, and heart. Energy pulses from the alien fleet flickered, the vast formation shuddered, and for the first time, subtle cracks appeared in what had seemed an impenetrable wall. Vessels wavered, formations broke, and calculated strikes failed to respond with precision. The Odyssey's crew realized what this meant. The ancient observers were acknowledging human supremacy in this encounter. Not with words, not with surrender, but with recognition, hesitation, and respect. Dr. Mei Ling's voice broke through the tense silence. Commander, the alien fleet, they are no longer fully coordinated. Their systems are faltering. Humanity has triumphed. We've survived every test, outmaneuvered every threat, and now we have proven ourselves. Commander Hale's chest swelled with pride, eyes glistening with emotion. This is humanity. Against impossible odds, we endure. Against incomprehensible power, we adapt. Against fear and despair, we act with courage. Humanity triumphs not because we are strongest, but because we refuse to yield. The Odyssey moved forward, positioning itself strategically as the alien fleet reeled from the human gambit and decisive strikes. Every crew member's mind raced with calculations, instincts, and pride. The ship's hull bore scars from countless near-deaths. The lights flickered with every pulse, yet the spirit aboard was unbroken, indomitable. Humans had faced the impossible and had turned it into victory. Elena whispered, tears running down her cheeks. We've done it. We've shown them the heart of humanity. Courage, intelligence, and hope. That is our greatest weapon. We are not just survivors. We are champions. We endure. We prevail. Lieutenant Patel grinned, exhausted but elated. They tested us. They underestimated us. They tried to break us. And yet, here we are. Humans endure. Humans act. Humans triumph. Suddenly, the alien fleet pulsed in unison, not with aggression, but with acknowledgement. The vast intelligence behind the vessels had recognized what humanity truly represented. Unpredictable, courageous, relentless, and alive. Humanity had survived the edge, adapted to the impossible, struck boldly, and triumphed against forces older than time itself. Commander Hale addressed the crew, voice calm but full of awe. Look at what we have done. We faced incomprehensible power. We endured, adapted, gambled, and struck decisively. We have triumphed not because we sought glory, not because we sought revenge, but because we are human. And humanity will never yield. The crew of the Odyssey felt an overwhelming wave of relief, pride, and emotion. They had stared into the void, faced intelligence beyond understanding, and emerged victorious. Every sacrifice, every moment of fear, every ounce of courage had culminated in this defining triumph. Dr. Mei Ling whispered, almost to herself, we are alive, and in our survival, in our courage, in our heart, we have shown the universe the essence of humanity. We are dangerous. We are unstoppable. We are human. The alien fleet slowly reorganized, maintaining presence, but its energy pulses were subdued, its formations cautious. Humanity had forced recognition, and that recognition was a declaration across the void. Humans are not merely participants in the universe. They are actors, innovators, survivors, and conquerors of the impossible. Commander Hale looked at his crew, voice heavy with emotion. This is the culmination of everything we endured. We faced impossible odds. We acted with courage. We survived the unthinkable. And now, humanity stands triumphant. Let every heartbeat of every human know this truth. We endure. We act. We triumph. We are alive. We are human. Tears, smiles, laughter, and quiet sobs filled the observation deck. The crew of the Odyssey embraced each other, the weight of the impossible lifting, replaced with awe and unbreakable pride. Humanity had survived, gambled, struck, and emerged victorious. The HFY spirit, courage, ingenuity, heart, and relentless will had reached its peak. Across the endless void, the alien fleet pulsed subtly, acknowledging the humans not as mere observers, but as equals in courage and determination. The Odyssey drifted onward, battered but alive, a shining testament to the indomitable human spirit. Humanity had triumphed, and in that triumph the universe understood, for the first time, that humans were not ordinary. Humans were dangerous. Humans were cunning, courageous, relentless. Humans were alive. The stage was set for a new chapter of the galaxy, where humanity was no longer the observed. It was the actor, the survivor, the champion, and the undeniable force of courage, heart, and ingenuity. The void was vast, the stars infinite, but one truth shone brighter than all else. Humanity endures, humanity acts, humanity triumphs. Humanity is alive.